interesting place. I know if it had been years ago, it certainly would have been much, much heavier. Now it still feels light. It just feels different. So it was recently that I found out that my DM's mom, so my boys' paternal grandmother, transitioned into her next life. And I mean, we had a little bit of warning because we were informed that she went into hospice some weeks ago, and she had been in more intensive nursing care for the last year at least. And unfortunately, I feel like unfortunately and both fortunately, I also sensed that coming, and I remember trying to tell my DM in like some kind of way, like how do you give somebody that information, like within the last year. I remember trying to talk to him about it years and years ago, like preparing for it mentally, financially, things like that. But more recently, though, like before I went on the Wickedly Divine Lightwork tour, random road trip thing, but there was everybody was so caught up in 3D stuff, and I knew that there were things coming. I didn't know what all things. I remember talking with our boys about it. Like there are things coming, and I can see many timelines. I don't know what is first. I don't know what is next. I don't know what is last. I don't know which way the road might unfold through this next set of chapters. I know that it'll be good after. I just don't know how it will go in those spaces, you know? And some of the stuff I talked with them about was like it could have been my mom. She's older also and does not have great health, and I've taken her in and out of the hospital. Same with my dad. It could be him too. It could be other things that go on, and I said it could be economic stuff that happens. But like what I had a hard time communicating to people was that sensing of the transitioning of some elders in our lives. And I don't know, I suppose in a weird way, like I had time to process that, especially with my aunt Donna having passed last year. And in a weird way, like I'll do a different video for her because I realized I did not do one for her. But like going through that was almost a good preparation for this stuff. Like she was a very meaningful person. She was very, very loved. She had her shadow sides. Oh, trust me, I grew up with her, so she was she definitely had them. But she was very beloved, and it really hit a lot of people when that happened. It was almost bigger in a way than a lot of the other people in family on both sides that are going. But it doesn't mean that it's any less of a grieving process, right? But it got me to thinking about, though, you know what? Like, there's a funeral coming up, and I'm grateful because my Eamon gets to go. He did not get to go. I didn't get to go do anything either for my Aunt Donna. And we've always done, like with pets and things like that, we've always done, like, our own little kind of ceremony, a little, like, sending off and processing of things and talking about things. And it made harder with my aunt that he did not get to go and see her in the hospital. Like it was a bunch of adult pirate nonsense. It could have been made to happen, but the adults were being pirates. And I'm really grateful that Spirit has arranged it, at least right now, that amongst the pirates on his father's side, that he can still at least go. And whatever experiences may happen with them are their own separate thing. At least he gets to go and have some of the grieving process. And because he tried, he wrote some stories and stuff for his Grandma Mary when she was in the nursing home. I don't know if she ever got them because that would have been on his aunt on his dad's side to have actually taken it. And we talked about her a lot. And oh man, with my DM, with my Rudy Bug over the years, like, I mean, he's a cancer man. How could we not have talked about his mom? He talked about his mom all the time. I feel like in many ways, like, even though I didn't get to spend very much time with her in the 3D, like, She was so much a part of my everyday life. Almost more than my own mom's. But I did get to spend some times with her. And I remember too, like there was so often that I would notice that like nobody was sitting with her and really having a good conversation with her. Everybody was all on about the gossip of this and that, who said what. And I really enjoyed sometimes just sitting with her and being like talking about past lives and tarot and astrology and metaphysical experiences, and like I just loved that she had that. She was Catholic, but she was very like Catholic pagan, and I loved that blend in her. And clearly, like there was many parts of her that loved her own blend too. But I remember, it's funny what keeps coming into my mind. It's one of the things that I did before I left for the Wickedly Divine Feminine tour, or Wickedly Divine Lightwork tour, was that I sent a message between my DM and his sisters and was like, look, y'all need to stop fucking arguing. You need to start getting along. Like, your mama wanted y'all to be a happy-ish family that, like, supported each other and got together. She wanted that big family dream. And you know what? So did my mom, and I'm aware that both my mom and their mom are full of shadows, and like the part of the way that why we are the way we are is because of their own choices and growth and things like that. But I was like, you know what? I'm doing this for the mamas. Like, I'm gonna be gone until y'all tell the truth and start getting along and stop acting like big children, you know? And even at that, like, I've since changed my opinion of it. Like, that's kind of insulting to children. Like, most of the kids are far more mature than any of the adults have been behaving. But I was thinking about Grandma Mary mostly. And I attached a song. It was Elvis Presley's "A Crazy Little Thing Called Love," which is funny because Elvis is an artist that both of our mothers have absolutely loved. Though I would say by far, my DM's mom definitely had more of a passion about Elvis, and I loved that. And a passion about music in general, I think. But I attached that, and I remember thinking when I sent that, like, it was a big long message, and some of it was snarky and stuff, but it really was meaningful. It really did mean what I said, because I spent the last couple of years like listening to the two of them, my DM and one of his sisters, like talking about how they wanted to connect with each other, but then they didn't because a different sibling or a different person or some other karmic reason that they couldn't or shouldn't, or they needed to ice each other out or be mean or do things like that. And it was like, you know what, you both sit there and tell me how you want the connection and how like you both kind of owe each other. I'd say definitely leans more towards owing Medium because he's done far more in many ways than others. But either way, it's like your siblings. Like there's supposed to be reciprocity, as in like a cycle of appreciation for each other and support for each other. And it doesn't have to be financial. It doesn't have to be codependent. Just that family love, you know what I mean? And like the gossip between, even the two of them gossiping about each other and doing other things like that, and then using me as their crutch for why they can't, or like fighting with each other and stuff like that. And it's like, y'all need to stop it. Like, there's realer shit in this world going on, and there's going to be times when you're not going to have your mama to argue over. You're not going to have me to argue over. You're not going to have the same resources or economic situations or like even belief systems. And like you're going to appreciate more the times that you spent getting along than the times that you spent trying to avoid being vulnerable. And I mean, remember, like, I didn't know which of what timelines was going to occur. I'm exceptionally smart and very psychic, and like I felt like I knew these things were coming, but I didn't know. No, that's what makes it hard to tell people for sure. Like, this is going to happen, that's going to happen, because there are often times when even when you know that something's going to happen, that like if you're wrong, if you're wrong, that could be devastating. You know what I mean? But I feel like I can feel her energy like dancing in the universe right now. Like deciding what next incarnation she'll be into. I remember she used to talk about some that she remembered from ancient Egypt, and those were definitely fascinating conversations to have. And I think about, like, isn't it beautiful to be alive and to be so affected by the lives of others, both before and after they leave this lifetime with us? Isn't it interesting to be able to sit back and think about how somebody has touched your life, like in good ways and bad ways? Like, I love so very much many of the interactions that I've had with Grandma Mary and with the rest of my DM's family. Though, like, they're also part of the reason why he always felt so paranoid about, like, being with me. Like, they were always paranoid about me, that, like, my genuineness was some sort of trick, or that I was too high caliber or too goody two shoes, or that I really couldn't be like that. I must just be better at hiding it. Like, there was a lot of paranoia through all of it, including with Grandma Mary. But you know what? Whereas in the past, like, I couldn't find a place within myself to appreciate the kind of adorableness of that, like, I appreciate it now even more, you know? And I don't know, I guess I feel like I look back at the story of Grandma Mary, and I mean, I know so much of it that I know there were places where she stumbled, places where she crumbled, places where she had a hard time carrying on, but I know she's going to have a good next lifetime that'll be easier than this last one, because a lot of what I'm able to do even right now is largely inspired by her. She chose after a time to stop dating because it was like, the people she was attracting were abusive to her kids. So she did it herself. And it took a while to get that just right, but she did it. And she found the courage within herself several times to, like, pick up and move across states with children in tow, you know, to start over, or to start with far less than she began with. To I sorry, doing a video. Um, Somebody was just asking for a smoke, which normally I would say yes to, but right now no. I'm doing a tribute to Grandma Mary. But no, like, I saw and see the courage that she had, and the warmth in her heart that she tried to show. She was a fellow Capricorn. Her birthday was literally the day before mine, on Dolly Parton's birthday. And I see her in much the same way as Dolly Parton, in that sense of, like, she was courageous, she was dedicated to music, she believed in magic. And you know what? She may not have always gotten it right, but she always tried it again, or tried something else, or went another direction to see if that would make a difference. And I think that she did at least better at being better than her generation of adult figures was with her and with others. No, it's an interesting time. It's an interesting time, and I hope, even if I don't know it in the moment, but I hope Spirit will show me in some way that I get to experience her next incarnation, because time isn't linear. It could pop in here, or it could pop in at a future date and be that kind of that cool magical experience, that cool wink from Spirit that's like, yes, see? You see her energy here, and here, and here. Alright, y'all. Well, thank you for sending some prayers. More to my boys and their dad than anything else, but also to their dad, my DM's family, and all of the pirates and everybody, because pirates are not. They are human too, and they have emotions, and they most likely would not be being piratey if they weren't feeling hurt. And so, thank you for lifting them up into the light. And thank you for sending prayers to Grandma Mary, that I don't know, that she gets to have some beautiful, fun, and loving, and musical and magical adventures in her in her next lifetimes.